Alright, this is Jurassic Park 2, The Lost Generation, and this is issue number 11, which actually means it is issue number 2. Since when a company comes out of a major bankruptcy, it's always a good idea to make your product as confusing as possible to limit potential profit. This comes from the early Tom Beevort era, where they would just shit out all these mini-series by people that purported to love continuity, to make him look like he was actually doing his job when stories referred to continuity. And this is a pretty sad sack series with a good creative team who can do much better. The idea was they're trying to fill in the gaps in Marvel's publishing history, namely the late 50s and very early 60s, before Fantastic Four issue 1. I got this comic in 1999 or whenever it came out because I thought that this guy, I thought he looked cool. Back then, I didn't like this because he is hardly in it and he sees absolutely no action in the issue. I didn't like it now either. First, where is my fold-out recap page? I'm waiting for an answer. Where is it? This comic is by Roy Sturman and Jason Byrne, and it's just not very good. Their approach to continuity, it's a lot better than the spiteful stuff people like Kurt Busey were concurrently doing. But this story and its characters are just lame. The heroes in particular are very unoriginal and derivative. Like here, we've basically just got Iron Man, except he looks like Robot Man from DC Comics. And for your information, or FYI if you prefer, not a single one of these characters ever appeared outside of this mini-series. Nothing from this was ever mentioned again. So here we are seeing, I get all the characters' names wrong as a joke usually, but honestly I cannot remember any of these characters' names. He's called something like Hardware or Hard Drive, Hard Summit. Ardon, that's his name now, Ardon. We are getting an introduction to Ardon here, but you're given no reason to care about him. There's also a subplot, or really the main plot, or rather the only plot. With this guy, he's not given a name. I don't know if he's meant to be a main character, or if he is just a random bloke who showed up in this issue. He has stumbled onto a Skrull spaceship that has landed on Earth. This is where the continuity stuff comes into it. We are seeing the Skrulls and their interactions with Earth prior to Fantastic Four number 2. So Ardon, he breaks into a thing and there's people being held in tubes. The comic, it does a poor job of catching you up. I do wonder if this was meant to have one of them fold-out recap pages. And then Tom Beevort, he got rid of all of them. And the result was, an issue like this was left to gun out without the script being altered to compensate for the lack of any backstory being provided. Keep in mind, this is a second issue. It's inexcusable that any second issue should so poorly clue a reader into what is what. We spend a lot of time with Ardon, but I didn't learn anything about him. I didn't even know if it is a man in armour, or if it is a robot, or if it is a remote control thing. And then we have got another character, some college professor, who I think is meant to be a superhero. Or maybe it's his student here that is a superhero. I thought the guy though, he was going to turn out to be the bloke on the cover that I like the look of, but he isn't in it anymore. This subplot with the man finding the Skrull ship, I will say this is at least an entertaining idea. We have got an ultimate reveal, but when I was like 9 or 10 or whatever, I didn't care for a fun little twist on a 50s style anthology piece. This guy is running around trying to warn people about the alien invasion. And Ardon, he frees some of the people trapped. And here is why I didn't know if he's a robot or an Iron Man. He fires his fist off to smash this tube. And it lets some fire girl out. I didn't know her name. They didn't use it at any point in the comic. Then they free this woman. And then there's another fella who was there, but he was in the shadows. He might be the bad guy. I didn't know. He looks kind of cool though. And he's not in the comic anymore after this page. And here we get to the guy from the cover. And I just want to say, I want to point something out, right? Take a look at him. Like, look at his costume and that. Like, take a good look at him. Make note of the design and the colours and all the stuff like that. Now, look at the cover. Do you notice something? That's right, a Tom Beevos comic coloured a character completely wrong. I don't know which is meant to be correct. This design here, or this one on the cover. He's not in the comic much more after this page. The stuff with the scrolls and this guy trying to warn people, this is fine. It's not worth the price of the comic, but it is a nice little idea. It could work. Oh, and look, there he is, miscoloured again. A third time. Now he has got purple added to his palette. If you haven't already assumed, I am not recommending this. And here is some terrible and pointless nudge, nudge, wink, wink continuity stuff. Here is the Thing. Before he was the Thing, he bumps into this guy who knows about the scrolls. And the Thing directs him towards Mr. Fantasticals. Before he was Mr. Fantasticals. Even this story, which I think is a decent, simple idea, it could have been told better without pointlessly dragging the Fantastic Force, before they were the Fantastic Force, into the mix and complicating and screwing up their awareness of the scrolls. And then there is a statue man and they break him. I wish this meant something to us. I wish I had any idea who this statue man was, or why he is a statue, or why they chose to smash the statue, but I didn't. And then Mr. Fantasticals, he has a handgun. He just has a handgun. Like, I'm not being unfair to this comic. It has done a poor job of setting anything up. It's got one good idea in it, and it is deciding to squander that by having it resort to indulgent continuity rubbish and doing so very badly. The twist is, the guy, he was the Skrull all along. You didn't realise he was the Skrull who landed on Earth. You could have just as easily told that fun little idea without dragging Mr. Fantasticals into it, or randomly having Mr. Fantasticals be the one to deduce and expose the Skrull straight away, and also randomly having a handgun. Yes, I am harping on that a lot. It is random. It makes no sense. He has got a handgun. Why does he have a handgun? It makes no sense. And then it just ends. There isn't a to be continued or a bombshell ending. It just ends. To the point that at 10 years old, I was confused and thought a page was missing. The best bit is Roy Sternman writing about the various peoples working on this series besides him and Jason Byrne. Did anyone think that this looked good? When I was going through this, did anyone think, that looks really good? It's disheartening to see people that I like do a bad comic. Roy Sternman, I think every comic I have described as perfect or flawless, I think they have almost all been written by him. Well, here is the first and hopefully only stinker of his. I'd love to say that it is uncharacteristic of Jason Byrne to have a weak and unremarkable series, but he was putting them out without fail in 1999. This is not a good comic. It's not good for a child. It's not good for an adult. It's not good for anyone except brown nosers. I rate this 7 thumbs up.